Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday. That's Thankful Thursdays, and I'm thankful to be here with everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's get the questions rolling. Coach Missy's in the house. Good morning. Rob Deerdeck back in the house. Good morning. Jake Flescher's in the house. Keaton's in the house. Good morning, good morning, good morning. You look and sound great, everyone. Nick, this weekend is Nick's 21st birthday. LFG for Mikey. That's LFG. That's Tom Brady's favorite saying. We also are pinning up here on Thankful Thursdays my email, david@dmeltzer.com. If you have not gotten the open-ended questions template from me, reach out, david@dmeltzer.com. LFG, Coach Missy, good to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, the emails are flying in. Here we go. Not the emails, the questions. All right, here we go. How do you build and sustain momentum? Momentum is created through inspiration. Motivation gets you started, gets you restarted, gets you up, gets you back up. But inspiration, being in spirit, will get you there. That's the momentum sustenance. And you build momentum by enjoying the consistent, persistent, consistent without quit, consistent every day, persistent without quit, pursuit of your own potential. There is the reconciliation of building and sustaining momentum. Very good. Let's keep it rocking and rolling here. Thank you for all the questions on Thankful Thursday. We are here every day. What's are the present, the future, and the past for? What can we learn from them? Well, I study time every day, and what we learn from it is the power of our mindset, our heart set, and how to reconcile it with the conscious continuum through time. The past, present, and future all can be relative and reconciled in the same perspective only with time. Time is the only thing that ties those together, and thought is the only thing that allows us to travel between them. And that's because the speed of thought moves faster than the speed of time. Time moves and gives us 24 hours of activity a day. It moves at 186,000 miles per second. But thought actually can transcend from the present to the past and all the way to the future. Give it a try. So if you would like to understand what we can learn from it, learn that we're consistently, persistently pursuing the reconciliation of our thoughts and the man-made construct of time, the 24 hours of activity that we're given. And so the better you can reconcile the thoughts that you have with reality or your perspective or with time, the man-made construct of time based off of the speed of light, which is 186 miles per second, the better off you will be in expanding, growing, and accelerating, and taking every possibility of a thought, making it a probability with inspiration, and then the reconciliation with strategy, discipline, and awareness allows it to be your reality or your perspective in the present. I spend a lot of time studying this, and very, very difficult to understand, but very powerful when we understand the power of our mindset, our heart set, and that conscious continuum. So very, very good. All right, let's take one more question. Then we will bring our first guest on. Thomas, my friend at Drives Football. I know you're here. You are here. Actually, I'll take you right now. Here we go. Let's all welcome Thomas Holokias. Thomas is here from founder of Drives Football. Can't be anything better than Drives Football. He's sideways, but how are you doing?
All right. Am I still sideways?
Yeah, you're sideways, but I can hear you fine.
All right.
There you go.
All right. We'll do that instead. There you go. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Thomas. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. Well, I just wanted to hear more about Drives Football, and with your financial background, I was wondering how you applied that to the company and founding Drives Football.
Okay. Drives came from the concept of sitting at a bar with friends, and you kind of make that comment like, say, hey, I'll bet they score. And as a derivatives guy, that's kind of something that always, you always kind of think about things in like probabilistic outcomes, like what's the likely outcome? So I'm like, what would be the fair value of that bet? Like, what is that bet? So we're sitting there, we're watching the game, the ball's in the 25-yard line. It's like, what would I bet in hopes they score a touchdown? And that's the beginning of Drives. Basically ended up hooking up with some friends of mine who run a quant hedge fund, and we started working on the models and kind of the game that was Drive. That was the inception.
Oh, that's awesome. And, you know, one of the things about a great idea and then putting math to it and the, you know, the calculating statistics that are involved in hedging and building bets, which is becoming more and more of a specialty and also more and more of a business, is that there's so many different ways to create bets and hedge bets. And, you know, I see so many different apps. Taking it to market seems to be, you know, the biggest differentiator is through all the great ideas. There's plenty of science and math to go around to figure out how to create, you know, different odds and different bets. What are you guys doing to market the product to differentiate it with, you know, from fantasy to gambling to polling to all the different new, and there's huge money when you're dealing with MGM and Caesars and
Right.
DraftKings and, you know, everyone else. How are you competing, or are you not competing and just trying to build to a smaller community?
Yeah, no, I think there's some nuances to the game. So in this, traditional sports gaming, it's passive. So you kind of make your bet, you sit there, you watch what happens. There's not much you can do. As real-time gaming evolves, there are some real lessons to be learned from the traditional market. So a lot of these kind of, current in-game bets are prop bets, they're one-off bets, and they're kind of binary. It's like, did I win or did I lose? And they're opaque. So it's like, well, I'm betting 3-1, but maybe the fair odds are 6-1, and you have no chance. And what happens is, after a while, it kind of gets boring. It's like if we flip the coin, we could have some fun for a while, then it gets boring. What Drive does is create continuous markets, and that is just like a stock market. So if you buy IBM at 100 and you're watching a trade, you can have this emotional reaction to it. And the same thing happens when you buy a drive. If you buy a drive at 2, if the drive score jumps to 4, 4.5, you now have an implicit request. Like, what do? You're up. Do you take your money off the board? Do you not? So it's kind of continuous market, which is, again, a byproduct of what makes the capital markets effective. You got a lot of opinions in one market, and it's always going. This is why people like day trading. So I think that separates us quite a bit from most gaming, and it requires a certain expertise that is not found in traditional games because those are much more like stock trading in the early 90s or so. The second aspect is that we generate a lot of content, so we can put a lot of good numbers to subjective analysis. So you're like, oh, we have to move the chains, and what you see in the game is that third downs are huge. So if you buy a drive at 2.5, and on 3rd and 10, it might drop down to 1.5. But if they get that first down, it'll jump to 3.5. So all of a sudden you see third downs are bigs, and we can kind of actually give you attribution to players. So that third down receiver who might not get any love because he's only getting 60 yards, but if that's all third downs, he's actually super valuable. So we have some really cool content that we can put around it, which again helps in that kind of marketing. It's kind of more unified approach. You can watch a game, you'll get insights. We can put numbers to big plays. We can say, hey, that was a big play. So scoring from the 1 yard line on first down isn't really a big play. It's kind of expected. And then on the marketing side, our goal is to kind of have, I have in addition to a Wall Street background, I have a crypto background. I'd love to have our users become part of our community, kind of get them involved. I've discussed the idea of giving equity away, whether it be to users, whether it be athletes who help us promote, become part of that community. Because, I see right now we're for fun, and I think there's a place in the world for fun, kind of almost arcade of sports where people come, they chat, they discuss, but they get to play too. So it's not just like, oh, who's going to win tonight? It's like, well, I think they're going to score. You start betting, you start chatting with your friends. Maybe someone, some experts kind of throwing some advice around. And that parallels nicely to the sports gaming world because then once you're doing it for fun and you have that community, that's like, oh, let me go place a wager. I can go to an app for money. So I think we have a lot of unique characteristics that are really compelling. And then I think if we can kind of get our community going and kind of help them promote the app and, earn equity in the process, I would love to see this company, majority owned by our users.
Yeah, how a company like that becomes valuable, especially in this space, is the data that you collect. And
Exactly.
since 1992, I've been involved in data. CEO of Samsung's first phone in the '99, but never before have I seen a more valued piece of data than a gambler from 18 to 34.
Yeah.
Players.
Mhm.
For you, what and how are you going to use the data? Because obviously you're, financially capable of figuring out the analytics and the ability to build
Mhm.
that community. but there's a whole nother ball game in the data, and you could collect an enormous amount of emotional data, which makes this database extremely valuable.
Yeah, no, and that's actually a great perspective because in the capital markets, like when you sit there and you go to your school and you study financial markets, you learn about the normal curve, and the normal curve is basically something that does not exist in capital markets. So one of the beauties of the for fun aspect is to help our models get smarter. So we need the data on kind of user behavior, user dispositions. Those are really important things to making these models. So these are not just historical models based on kind of like what happened last year. It's kind of what users think, like the wisdom of the crowd. So that data is super valuable. And when you start going to real money gaming, we will have that data. Our models will be better than the next because even if you wanted to kind of jump in and compete, we know what users do. We know what they want. They have real truth and knowledge in their opinion. So that is a huge data source, and that's a very valuable data.
And, furthermore, is this your first entrepreneurial venture? I mean, obviously you've been in the financial space a long time, trading and building, financial services as a business. Is this your first entrepreneurial venture?
No, I've run small broker dealers in the past. I had a crypto startup which kind of got frozen by the crypto winter. So I literally had two crypto billionaires, say they're writing checks, and I think by the time mid crypto winter came, they were no longer billionaires. So that kind of got frozen in thought, and now there's a lot of a new exciting innovation there that probably would make our project a bit stale. So I consider that a good miss, but a very insightful, very instructive miss. But yeah, now I've kind of gotten in the ground. I'm used to doing a little bit of everything and all that.
Yeah, all of my misses are constructive misses. I always say that it wasn't punishment, but propelling me to a better place, a better situation. Through all of your journey, I love a more experienced entrepreneur because I think the more experienced entrepreneur gets a unfair shake. When most people think of entrepreneurs, they think of these 16 to 19-year-olds, and the truth is
Hmm.
most entrepreneurs are somewhere between 40 and 60, the good ones, and it's nice to see that we're still on the learning curve and on the cutting edge of
Yeah.
blockchain and crypto and gambling and AI, which are all encompassed in what Drive is doing. What's next for Drive?
All right, so we have football. So we hope to get our audience. We have a lot of large VCs looking at us. They want the user base to kind of prove out metrics. Our metrics were pretty promising from last year, but we have basketball, we have golf, we have all these games, and it's all that kind of probabilistic mindset. It's like what's the likely outcome? How do you put that in a game? Obviously, we are somewhat tied to kind of transmission, relay of information data from. So what we could do in stadium versus out of stadium is different, but football is obviously the big one. We want to kind of get that right, but we have prototypes for golf, we have prototypes for basketball. So just again, games like that where it's fun, and the idea is to build, an arcade where you can go play sports, chat with people, have some experts kind of chime in, and just kind of again have fun, and then have the gambling offshoot where when you're ready to play some money down, you can. But I think both worlds can coexist nicely.
Are you going to rebrand marketing wise as you explore from Drives football? A lot of the other sports, obviously, Drives golf makes sense, but as you expand to the arcade, are you looking at rebranding the marketing of the entire platform?
Yeah, that's one of the ideas. Whether I just kind of morph to Drive Sports and have them be kind of subsets, and then kind of go there. But that is something that as you kind of expand out, the goal was to get football right because obviously it's a big one. But I do think that a rebranding probably after as we move forward might make some sense.
You get Mark Kwame at Drive Financial to fund the whole thing, and then you got to be off to the races. Anyway, Tom, thank you
Exactly.
so much for joining me. Check him out at Drives Plural Football, Drives Football. Join
Yeah,
him.
and
Go ahead.
there's a game tonight. The app is up and running. The NFL has a new data provider, so it might be a little spotty, but you can play tonight. It's fun, and by the season start, we should be ready to rock and roll.
I will be on it tonight. Thank you so much. Check him out.
Awesome. All right, thanks a lot.
Take care, Tom. Take care. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
You too. Drives football, nothing better than more and more football apps to make the game more fun. As it has golf and every other sport, one of the oldest businesses in the world, gambling. And it's becoming legal everywhere. And the technology is allowing us to real time, bet on drives, pull, pass or run, all the fun things that we can do. All right, let's keep it rocking and rolling. It is Thankful Thursdays. I hope everybody here is thankful. I hope you're all saying thank you before you go to bed and when you wake up. Just checking that out. You want to go ahead and get the gratitude challenge from me, David at dmeltzer.com. If you'd like to say thank you before you go to bed and when you wake up and get that gratitude challenge, David at dmeltzer.com. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What is the one thing that should be taught in schools but isn't? Sales and financial literacy. So there's two. Financial literacy, how to balance a checkbook, how to sell, how to buy. Those things are not included. I include selling and buying in financial literacy because people don't know perceived value and bottom line. They don't know how to vet and trust, a whole bunch of things that they don't teach that I teach, and be happy to teach you. I do free trainings every Friday. Over 50,000 people registered every Friday with me for over 21 years. I've been doing this, teaching what they don't teach in schools, what they wish I would have taught me in undergrad, business school, and law school. I'm teaching what I've learned from the dummy tax that I paid. Learn financial literacy. I've partnered with Marshall Falk, Hall of Fame running back, to teach financial literacy and to empower young people with new jobs in the space, utilizing them to teach people. So if you want to work with me and Marshall Falk, reach out. If you're looking for a new job, a new gig, a side gig, if you're a stay-at-home mom, if you just want to make some extra money or learn about financial literacy, call or email me, David at dmeltzer.com. Jesus is on the loose. What Jesus needs to learn is how to remember to do things by writing them down. I've never met a kid that can't add and doesn't know and remember how to do things, but he'll get there. It's amazing. He's one of the best. He's in an MBA program, one of the best schools in the world, but they're not teaching him how to write things down and remember things or add. It's really weird. I won't mention the school because I don't want to hurt their feelings. All right. When you were an agent, how did you pick which clients you worked with? That was simple. We required each of our clients to have a purpose, a cause, or a charity to give back to, and a certain percentage of what they make, half to give back. And if they weren't willing to do that, we didn't work with them. There was a duality that we learned by requiring people to pick a cause, a purpose, or a charity to give back to. Is if they didn't do that or didn't want to do that, then we knew that they would eventually not be aligned and fall away or be fired or fire us. Remember my asshole equation. You're lucky when you know who's attacking you, because you can fire them from your life or allow them to fall away, and all they're going to do is protect you, because they surround themselves with people with closed minds, with attacking minds that are assholes, and they protect you because they surround the other assholes and tell them how bad you are, and those people don't want to be around you, so they're protecting you. Meanwhile, the people that love you, like Jason Waller, bam, that's right, the True Underdog podcast, one of the top in the world. It was ahead of Gary Vee in the rankings I saw. Incredible podcast. I've been on that podcast and he's been on mine, but really he's the star of my TV shows. I just got to tell you, talk about big personalities and big hearts. Jason Waller, Power Home Solar, True Underdog podcast, is the star of all stars. This guy brings a big heart and huge emotional intelligence to the game. He may not have graduated high school, may have grown up and born into a trailer home. He's the original Eminem, but this guy's going to be a billionaire very soon, and he's rocking and rolling with a big heart. And just hello, Jason Waller. I'm calling you out in front of everybody. Anyway, he's aligned with my values, verified right there. Jason Waller, bam, bam, follow him. You are going to learn a lot. That guy has tons to teach and a big heart to help with as well. Odds on Nick Glazer throwing up on his 21st birthday, 99%, because I have surprises for him. I hope he doesn't, but it's 99% that he does, like most people on the 21st birthday that drink. How do you teach yourself to be more grateful? Practice. I practice and, don't lie to myself. I can't tell you, but it took me 9 months to say thank you before I went to bed and when I woke up for 30 straight days. 30 straight days. It took me 9 months. And I'm honest with myself. I would lie to myself and say I'm grateful, but I was taking for granted what other people were wishing for. And that doesn't make me grateful. And still today, I take for granted what other people wish for all the time. And so I have to remind, recollect, and remember. That means unify myself in the oneness with the source, the light, the love, and the lessons, and everyone else by being grateful. See, everybody in the world's ignorant. And because we don't know what we don't know, right? The definition of ignorance is you don't know. Well, if there's trillions of universes and trillions of data points, how can you know? There's no certainty at all. The only certainty is uncertainty. In fact, I tell people, if you're certain about anything tomorrow, like you can tell me is certain, then let me know. I know how to make billions of dollars. I'll give it to you and give it to charity. But let me know. The only certainty is you don't know. And so there's two types of ignorant people in the world. And this encompasses the whole world. There's the ignorant, humble people that say, I don't know what I don't know. Rule number 6, I don't take myself so seriously, but I'm going to enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of my truth, my potential. And then there's the scary ones. They're ignorant just like me, but they don't live in humility. They don't live in radical humility. They're the ignorant and arrogant. They don't know what they don't know, but they think they're right. And even worse, they have a need to be right. They have a need to be offended. They have a need to be inferior and superior and separate. They have a need to be angry, frustrated, guilty, resentful. Sound familiar? Which ignorant team do you want to play on? The humble or the arrogant? We're all ignorant. There's no way that anyone with the trillions of data points in the trillions of universes know what they're talking about. We are all ignorant. Which team do you want to play on? Radical humility and illuminate the fact that you don't know what you don't know and seek the light, the love, and the lessons? Or the ignorant and the arrogant, living with the need to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful, creating interference between you and that greatest source of love, light, and lessons that you're always connected to and through, that you're allowing it to come very appreciative to give it all away. So all the ignorant ones that want to live in radical humility, join me today on Thankful Thursday, and let's give thanks for what we are pursuing and the joy that we find in that pursuit. So Coach Missy still in the house. Any advice for a all-natural beauty product brand? Tons of advice. The first advice is to find someone that sits in the situation that you want to be in. Find a mentor, find a coach, find a teacher, find a trainer. Brock Davies in the house, my Charger fan, the king of F24 himself with a newborn baby. Congratulations, Brock. I can't wait to see you. Come by my office at SoFi. Come by and visit. Bring the baby, though. Bring Shayna. Please. Sheena, sorry. Anyway, we would love it. If you're not following Brock, please do so. He's an incredible entrepreneur. It is Thunder Thursday. Boy, very good. Friction Labs is here. We'll bring them in. Brock, thank you for coming. Hook up Brock with Jason Waller. You'd be a great guest for his podcast as well. September 7th at SoFi. Brock is going to meet us. I saw that email, man. I saw that. He invited me to the Charger game, but I'm going to the Rams game, and I'm speaking at the $100 million mastermind on Sunday. And we got some super surprise guests coming in as I teach some masterminds to people who have made over $100 million or have $100 million in their community. Very cool. All right, let's bring in our Friction Labs partner. We will view that request, and we'll go live with Friction Labs is here. Let me get my party started myself. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have the co-founder and CEO of Friction Labs, Kevin Brown. Are you here? Oh, there he is.
Hey, David. Thanks for having me.
Hey, good to see you, man. Look a little bit like Steve Young. You're from the angle. I'm like, wait a second. I don't got Steve Young on here today. I got Kevin instead. What's up?
How you doing? I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining me. I would love to discuss Friction Labs and what you call the good cause events that you guys do. Obviously, I am a person who lives by the phrase of being kind to my future self and doing good deeds, and everything I do has to have a charitable purpose or cause tied to it. And I think the same thing is held true there at Friction Labs. Why don't you give us a little bit of background of Friction Labs and what you got going on?
Cool. Well, we are the only U.S. manufacturer of athletic chalk. So when you see climbers on the Olympics or the shot putters or anyone putting that white powder in their hand to get a great grip, we make that. We're the only U.S. manufacturer. We've been doing this for about 8 years. And to your comment about the cause good events, About a year ago, with the pandemic, we started to do a lot of reflection. First 7 years of the business was kind of about survival and establishment. And when we realized that we had a strong enough business to make it through the pandemic, we started to ask, what could we do to cause some more good in this world? So we created this Cause Good initiative where we partner with all of our different gyms, climbing gyms, CrossFit gyms, ninja gyms, and we try and bring in underserved youth and expose them to these different sports. Hopefully they find something they love, and if they really stick with it, then we help work out and get them some scholarship type programs so they can keep doing it.
Well, you are the epitome of what I teach, because I believe there is no overnight successes, that we have to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of our own potential, not listening to what other people think or say or want for us, and definitely not listening to what's missing or what we don't want. But we have to be able to take care of ourselves first. And I love stories that take, 7, 17, or 27 years. But when they are stable and growing, that the first thing they look to is how they can give it away. And it's so important to expand and grow in that direction by creating and understanding the flow that's created by, number one, taking care of yourself, staying in business every day. And we both know, you and I, that's a very difficult journey.
Especially lately.
Yeah, over those years. But it's well worth it when you are in a position when other people need you to be of service and of value, and not have to be on the receiving end when things get tough, but to be on the giving end when things get tough, because you got tough when things were tough on you. What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced emotionally when the company, was, in jeopardy of going out of business, which every company that I've ever met at one time or another was in jeopardy of going out of business. What did you use emotionally to stay focused in on pursuing your potential?
Oh man, that's a great question. I think initially, selfishly, I was just concerned that this thing that we'd worked so hard was going to fail, and then that kind of led to that we were going to let our team down and not be able to support them. So we just kind of rallied together. I read some Stoic philosophy, and we just decided that there's only certain things we can control. We're going to focus on the things that we can control.
Wealthy, I am worthy, I am successful. What is it that's creating friction, right? And ego, obviously, and mindset create the friction in the figurative sense, just like you created a chalk that not only reduced the friction in the previous mechanism, but now also reduced the friction of disease. But your mindset as well, what did you use to lessen and relieve the friction, knowing what you already were?
I think we put a plan in place, and every day there'd be a new news story, or there'd be a new fact that could really take you off the course. And we just kept going back to our plan. And every day we took one step forward on the plan. Some days we took 2 steps forward. Some days we took a couple steps back, but we just kept sticking to the plan and trying to move forward. We included our whole team. We increased our communication. And, I think we just tried to lead by example for the rest of our team of, we've got a plan. It may not be the perfect plan, but this is our plan. And we're going to keep moving forward until this plan doesn't work.
And last question, I have a saying, no better way to make God laugh than come up with a well-developed plan. I believe in the law of gravity, that you're happy where you're at the right place at the perfect time. But those that desire that they must be what they can be by angling towards what they want, by utilizing a plan, but being open each day to angle to something better. How flexible were you with your plan, and how often did you adjust that plan?
I think we were pretty flexible. I mean, you had to be. The plan was sort of a direction. It wasn't it wasn't etched in stone. So as long as we were moving in the direction, when things came up, if a country closed or there were different restrictions that we could no longer work in certain areas, then we would shift our focus to where things were available. So yeah, I think there was a lot of flexibility, but as long as we just kept moving forward, I think everyone believed that we would eventually get there.
And you have, and you're going beyond there now. They always say, plan the activity you get paid for, and also utilize the activity with your plan in mind to angle towards what you want, to have faith with what you're doing, and you're able and capable now of helping so many. What are some of the causes that you guys support with Friction Labs?
So really, it's this cause good event where we go with we reach out to our partner gyms, and we try and bring in a whole bunch of underserved youth from like Boys and Girls Club, Denver's Children's Home, places like that. Kids that don't really get a lot of exposure or opportunity to try climbing or CrossFit or ninja and stuff like that. And then we try and bring in some of the athletes that we work with, make it a really fun event, really be encouraging. And for the kids that like it, we give them day passes to keep coming back and try and reduce those barriers that would stop them from doing it. And hopefully they find something healthy that they want to keep doing for the rest of their lives.
Well, Friction Labs should be called the non-friction labs, because you guys are aiming to reduce or dissolve or decimate all friction, figuratively and literally. So thank you so much. Check out our friends at Friction Labs. Kevin Brown, frictionlabs.com. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, David. Have a great day.
You got it. Take care.
All right, bye.
All right, check them out. Another great compassionate capitalist. Overnight success, 7.5 years to get to where they are. JA Impact Award winner today, and about 10 minutes, 8:45 Pacific time, the president of Bloom Catch, Ray McGee. You got to check him out. He at JA Worldwide. Join us for the JA Impact Award winner from 2 Minute Drill. We are in season 2 right now, airing on Bloomberg and, of course, on the incredible Amazon Prime Video. October 15th will be the launch of Office Hours as well. And we will also have a Junior Achievement honoree there as well. Come meet the billionaires, millionaires, celebrities, athletes, entertainers, and media, all that join us in an entrepreneurial late night show on Bloomberg and Amazon. But today we will be honoring the JA Impact Award winner from 2 Minute Drill, 8:45 a.m. Pacific time at JA Worldwide, Ray McGee. Congratulations. All right, let's take a couple questions here. How to know when we are making decisions out of ego? Well, once you identify the triggers of the ego, and once you identify the need to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful, just to name a few. Once you know the people that trigger your ego, that make you feel separate from, once you know the events and the places that trigger your ego, you then can utilize and know that your mind, body, and soul are on fire, that you're at jeopardy of accelerating in the wrong direction, and you will know when you're making those decisions because of those triggers. You're making decisions when there's no blood in your brain, because when the ego is triggered, the blood leaves your brain so that you can fight, flee, fight, or fornicate. All of those take the blood to the body. You need to put the blood back into the higher powers of thinking, into your brain. The way that we do that is to stop, drop, and roll. Stop, breathe, drop the center into neutral, roll in the trajectory outside of the ego to get what you want, not what other people want. Not missing, not what you don't want. But let's pay attention and give intention to the coincidences that we want. The mathematical equation of luck will work in your favor. People will wonder, how is he or she so lucky? That's because you're focused in on and giving what you think, say, do, believe, and knowing your personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions, all towards what you want, not what other people want, what's missing, what you don't want. It's that easy. All right, let's take one more question before we go over to JA Worldwide in honor Ray for 2-minute drill, $50,000 of cash and prizes. If you haven't applied to 2-minute drill, you should. David@dmeltzer.com. It's just a pitch competition. There's no facade of funding. Like when I was the executive producer of Elevator Pitch and Shark Tank and Dragon's Den, there's no facade of funding. No pretending like we're funding this and then it doesn't work out, or this is how you get funded, because there's no TV show that shows you how to get funded. They show great ideas and pitches, etc. So we want to show people how to pitch. How do you stimulate interest with credibility and emotional attachment? How do you quantitatively articulate value greater than what you're asking for in a short amount of time? And we're going to give you that advice specifically in all industries, not just me, but the great Jason Waller and Rory Kataya and Kim Perrell, just to name a few, giving years and years of experience. And as I said, from the billionaires and millionaires that have done it before you. What are your thoughts on practicing Stoicism? Look, I love it, right? Practice the philosophies that have got people to where you want to be. And being a Stoic is a mechanism to get to certain places by certain people that I want to be at peace. Peace of forgiveness and gratitude. Today is Thankful Thursday, and we get there through different philosophies and perspectives. Be thankful for everything you have. Do not take for granted what other people are wishing for. Please say thank you before you go to bed and when you wake up. It takes about 0.1 seconds and it's free, and I guarantee it'll change your life. It's not easy though, because the triggers of the ego will try to get you in your own way and take your focus and attention and intention off of where you want to be and what you should be doing. All right, that'll do it for Thankful Thursday. Come join me in 7 minutes. JA Worldwide, at JA Worldwide. We're going to be honoring 2-minute drills. JA Impact Award winner Ray, you did a tremendous job. We're impacting so many people. Come learn why with me with Junior Achievement Worldwide. This is David Meltzer. Remember, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. We'll see you later in about 7 minutes.